Welcome back. Let's do our quiz now. Now, counsellors, please take notes, as I'd like you to discuss the questions and the possible answers that you should think that we should actually discuss later on. Now, the quiz is taken from Oprah Winfrey's Are You Happy quiz. Take some time to consider how you feel by answering these questions. You must ask yourself if you believe these statements. Now, what you have to answer is either it's going to be never, sometimes, or frequently. So when I ask you the question, in your mind, or if you want to say it out loud, the possible answers: never, sometimes, or frequently. Okay? Never, sometimes, or frequently. Okay. Number one, I believe my life will truly begin when the right person or circumstances come along. I feel best when I give unconditionally to others. When I think about people in my life, I focus on those who have hurt or disappointed me. Remember, never, sometimes, or frequently. That's what you're answering. Never, sometimes, or frequently. Here's question 4. When I think about people in my life, I focus on those I care about and love. Never, sometimes, or frequently. There is not enough time for taking care of me. I've helped myself through difficult times with a strong, positive attitude. Never, sometimes, or frequently. I take myself very, very seriously. I believe it's up to me to live my life fully and find meaning. When things don't go well, I feel trapped or overwhelmed. And the last one, although life's circumstances change, my beliefs and capabilities will allow me to survive and thrive. The answers, well, you answered them. Your guts should tell you, are you happy? Based on the number of times you answered, you know, never, sometimes, frequently, it should tell you. You should know if you are really happy. Now, the reason why I wanted to do this with you now is because I don't want you to be judgmental. When you hear some of the questions that come through here, it's very easy for us to sit back and say, oh, this person should do this, oh, they should do that. But I'm sure you've got certain things that you're not dealing with that's not making you happy. So address those concerns and just keep your mind really open as to the things that you're hearing, and we will open the telephone lines later in case you want to comment on anything that we have discussed tonight or any of the issues that we're going to be raising. But I'd like to ask, Angus, I'll start with you. Out of the questions that we asked, was there a question that interested you?
Yes. Really the one to do with it being up to me to live my life fully and enjoyably. Can't remember the exact words. But that to me is at the core of a lot of dysfunction that happens with us. The assumption that it is up to someone else to make me happy, whereas the only person that can truly make me happy is me. But
you know, when you say that, I think a lot of people behave that way without even realizing that they're behaving that way. They are expecting other people to make them happy because they're waiting for this person to do something for them, and they're not realizing, well, you know what, I don't really need to wait for this person. Why am I waiting for them to make me happy?
That's right.
Yeah. In other words, no one can fill the emptiness in me other than me. I have to do it myself. I have to find a way to do that.
No, it's true, because when we get ourselves in certain relationships, whether it's, you know, romantic relationships or even career relationships, sometimes because we have someone who is senior or above, we just think that the directive has always got to come through them, and if they don't do it or whether they do it doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to wait. And if I'm unhappy, well, so what, because I'm the junior, so I just have to wait until well, no you
don't have to. No.
What interested you in that quiz?
For me, I'm not sure whether it's because my role as facilitator with parenting and working with families and mothers, but it's not enough time to take care of me. And for me that is significant, because so many people, so many parents and even adult fathers, you focus on taking care of your family, you focus on making your job work, doing things for work, doing things for this person, doing things for your community, doing things for your church, and you forget that you exist. And I always say to my mothers, if you don't take care of you and look after yourself, how can you then give anything back? So you run out of steam eventually. So you have to find time for you. So this person who never have enough time to take care of themselves, you have to stop and reevaluate. So what are you really giving if you have, you know, if you cannot take care of yourself?
And you know, the horrible thing about it is that when you don't take care of yourself, you obviously become stressed.
That's right.
And the people who feel the stress normally the most are the persons who are close to you.
Those you're trying to protect and
That's
care
right.
for. So
Yes.
you know, actually give them what you want to give them, you need to take care of yourself to reduce your stress level, and so that they can get the better side of you. Because you come in from work, you're rushing out and you're shouting, you're screaming, you don't know where anything is. You feel stressed because you're depleted, generally. Your whole sense of self, your energy level is depleted, and you're not going to give as much as you want to give.
And often people don't recognize this. They become resentful as well.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like giving, and I appear never ever to be getting.
Anything back.
And that also feeds the stress that you're talking about.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and it's we say we never have time, but we have to make time.
Easier said than done. I'm sure you've
Much
heard that.
Much easier said.
It's easy said, but at the same time, it's really important to recognize what is important in your life.
Yeah, it's true, because I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm saying this and I'm thinking, I haven't done my walking for at least a month, and I'm thinking I cannot get up early enough to walk, but yet I'm going to work. I'm going to all the other activities. I'm doing the things for the society, I'm doing the things for work, I'm doing my private practice, and if anyone calls me to do something, I guess I'll try and fit that in as well. But yet I don't get up to take that half an hour to do my walk, which is what I really need, because I know that helps me.
But how can you get up early to do a walk or to do any form of exercise when you're tired anyway?
But the exercise itself energizes.
I was just going to say it's a catch-22 because I did that earlier on this year, and I'm saying I'm too tired, I'm too tired, I'm too tired. And then one day I'm thinking, that's crazy, you're never going to stop being tired until you start walking.
But then that makes you tired.
No, it energizes you. Because
it releases
different hormones, but particularly endorphin, which is a happy hormone, and it makes you feel better about yourself. So I just need to get back into routine and get up, set the alarm, get up at 5:30, walk up the hill and walk back, and then get on with my day. So, you know, it's easier said than done, as you say, because I can say do it, and I'm realizing that, hold on, you haven't done it for a month, so you need to get back and do it.
And often, I often say to clients who are totally stressed out and flipping backwards and forwards, write it down. Concretize what you need to be doing during the day. Otherwise it stays in your head and just rushes all over the place. But once you've written it down, you can see what it is that you need to do. Then you can get along with prioritizing what you need to do first and what you can leave for tomorrow.
Now, before we actually go into some of the questions we have been asked, we spoke earlier and we said that a lot of the questions we've been asked could be solved, or at least people could start going on the right track if people learned to communicate.
Yes.
Communication has always been problematic. People talk about customer services and they moan, but really we should be looking at communications. What is a great definition, or let us clarify, what is communications and why can it only be seen as something positive? Beverlyn?
Communication, I mean, this is interesting because when we say communication, we automatically also assume the verbal, written and verbal communication. But there's also the non-verbal communication. Communication is a way of exchanging views and ideas, exchanging thoughts, feelings about each other, and openly discussing things. A lot of persons think in communication, like for example, but I talked to him. I talk to her, and when you ask, so what do you actually say? it's not talking to, it's talking at.
Yes.
You talk at people, you tell them what you want them to do. You never exchange ideas. Well, you know, this is what I think. They don't discuss openly. It's not a two-way conversation. It's a one-way. You do this, this is what I want, and this is what you must do. So communication is about, this is what I think, what do you think? Well, yes, should we do it this way? Maybe, have you considered this? And you're both on the same plateau, discussing, exchanging, and you have to be open to the other person's point of view. And then also the body language, because if you're talking to me and I'm doing this, I'm clearly not listening to you. I'm clearly shutting you out. I've already created a barrier to communication. So example, the husband or the boyfriend who's out at work and the girlfriend who's at home, and as soon as he comes in, you hear the which you're so good at doing. And then you think, he ain't talking to me. He's just gone off to his room. Why? You've already told him you don't want him to be there. You didn't say anything, but just your very reaction. And it's already closed down the path of communication. And we do it so often, because he may have been 5 minutes late. You don't know why he's late. You don't know whether he had to stay at work or what has happened. Automatically you're jumping to some conclusion. He's late, so he must be with another woman. She's late, so it must be a man.
Yes, but the issue of jumping to a conclusion means you're not communicating.
Exactly.
Yes.
And as you say, partially it's about not listening to what the other person is saying. And sometimes also not confirming what that person means, because you can say something to me. I, from my own perspective, pick that up and make sense of it, but it's not actually what you're trying to tell me. So I need to confirm to you that this is what I've heard you say, is that right? Sort of thing. The other thing is, of course, that we tend to communicate in three different ways: passive, aggressive, and particularly importantly, assertively. And many of us don't know what that means. Many of us, we're either passive or we're aggressive. And when we are passive, we tend to be walked over. When we're aggressive, we tend to walk over others. But assertiveness talks about my needs without trying to get you to conform to my needs.
You know what? And I want you to hold on to that thought, because when we come back from the break, I want you to use examples using the same sentence so that people understand exactly what you mean by that, because I think that's so key. Of course, this is Dolor Factor Live. When we come back, Angus is going to take us through that, and also we're going to look at some of your questions, so stay with us. See you soon.